Now, one TV show in particular that a lot of Star Wars fans are actually looking forward to is the Ahsoka Tano series starring actress Rosario Dawson. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Also, make sure to check me out at Mike01 on Twitter if you would like to. Now, moving beyond all of this, we do know that on the side, Kathleen Kennedy is working on Star Wars The Acolyte TV series with Leslie Headland. By the way, in case you guys have been out of the loop, that show is going to actually be based within the High Republic era, except at the very end of that era, taking place just decades before Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. So you are going to see this bit of a bridge between the end of that show and how it's going to transform into the prequel trilogy era. Now, beyond all of this also, we do know that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, they are very hard at work on making sure that a lot of Star Wars legends are going to make their way over into the new expanded universe. This, of course, has all to do with characters like Luke, Ahsoka Tano, and others out there that's going to use both new material and Legends material combined to create brand new stories that are very familiar, yet slightly different in a sense. You know, they're actually aiming to do the Thrawn trilogy, using that in, of course, the Mandoverse and other TV shows, etc., etc. So, what's really exciting, alright, all has to do with Gina Carano. Just yesterday, May 27th, both John and Dave had a major meeting with the Disney higher-ups, the board members, if you will, about Gina Carano returning into the Star Wars universe and whether or not that is actually going to, you know, be a thing or happen. We're going to learn more about that in the coming months on whether or not Gina Carano is going to accept this role or this offer, if you will, to come back. However, what's really interesting about all of this is what Rosario Dawson had to say about Gina Carano. Now, with Rosario Dawson already beginning to train for the role of Ahsoka Tano for her very own series, it's best described that Rosario is said to begin training with new lightsabers for the show, which could very well hint at her having new sabers in the series. However, when interviewed recently about her very own show, she was eventually questioned about Gina Carano and her thoughts on the whole situation. Rosario Dawson went on to state that she believes, and believe it or not, that there were many employees over at Lucasfilm that I am unwilling to name or call out, just out of respect and to maintain being professional. But yes, there were many within the company that did always try to get her fired from the series, for as long as I can remember, for Season 2 at least, when I was involved. There was a time when I was offered to be a part of an earlier episode with Gina Carano, and they deliberately convinced Kathleen Kennedy to cut that entire scene from Season 2 early on, before she lost her creative input above Jon Favreau at the time. Now, this was in the early stages, of course, before we began filming. Rosario went on to say that she loved working with Gina Carano and talking with her on the set. I believe that she is a very well-spoken woman and who has actually been nothing but very sweet to everybody on the set. I have nothing bad to say about her when further questioned about Carano. Rosario stated that many employees over at Lucasfilm never really liked Carano, since I guess you could say she is not wrapped up in Hollywood fame or is willing to take every order, and that Gina would always question if this was best for her character when it came to some of the scenes. Now, I wish that people could have been more friendly with Carano, but she was almost sort of working things out on her own on the set of the series, almost as if she was cast out or not part of the overall group at times. So, the thing that really gets me about Gina Carano in the entire situation here, when it comes to her firing and how a lot of employees kept trying to get her off of the set, kept on trying to get her fired from the Mandalorian series, Rosario Dawson is very respectful to her. She's obviously not against Gina Carano, but she's unveiling this terrible truth about Gina and her experience working with the higher-ups over at Lucasfilm. We're talking about Kathleen Kennedy at the time. We're talking about some of the concept artists. We're talking about some of the overall designers and the visual artists. A lot of people are against her. Freddie Prinze Jr. is also against Gina Carano. In fact, he was laughing about her firing on Twitter, even saying that he believed it was very funny that she got fired. I don't like that guy, guys, to be honest. I never really liked Freddie Prinze Jr. just because of how unprofessional he is and how he really has no barrier to what he wants to say. But I digress. The thing here about what Rosario said that really strikes me the most is how at times Gina Carano would feel like she was cast out, or kind of like a loner, if you will, kind of acting on her own and not really engaging in the overall set of the cast and the crew. And that to me just sounds horrible. I don't know about you guys, but it just seems like Lucasfilm acts like high school or middle school, and it just really is very disgusting. That's not how a company is supposed to operate. You're supposed to be very professional. You're supposed to welcome everybody on board. One thing I will say about Gina Carano is that I really do respect that she's able to speak her mind, that she does not engage in becoming a part of that Hollywood bubble. That's what I like so much about her. It's kind of like Leonardo DiCaprio. When you look at this guy as an actor, he doesn't really engage in that Hollywood sphere, in that Hollywood bubble. He's not absorbed in it. As far as I recall, he lives in Colorado in the middle of nowhere. He doesn't really engage in that Hollywood fame. That's kind of how Gina Carano operated. She's not influenced by the Hollywood elites. That's what I like so much about her. Some of you guys may disagree and believe that Gina's a bad person. That's fine. Hey, we're all human beings. We have our own opinions. That's fine. That is all welcomed below in the comments. That is what freedom of speech is about, and I stand for that. So, the thing about Lucasfilm, though, that's unacceptable is how they operate as a company, and it really drove a lot of fans away. It did. That's why John and Dave, they're trying to change things. They are trying to change how Lucasfilm operates. These new promotions that they recently got, it not only applies on a creative level, it also applies on a business level and on an HR level, in a sense, where they're going to operate on how the employees are going to interact with other employees. And this, to me, I think speaks volumes. I think that you're going to see a big shift in how Lucasfilm employees are allowed to act on Twitter or social media in general, and you're going to see a massive difference in how that's actually going to take place in the next couple of months to years even. So Dave and John are really going to make a big impact on that. As for Rosario, I cannot wait for her to begin training for the role of Ahsoka this fall. They're going to begin filming next year in Q1 of 2022. So yeah, guys, like I've said before, drop a comment below. Let me know about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Night to moon, we hear them moans again.